What a win for the Philadelphia Eagles on the road against the Indianapolis Colts to push that record to 9-1. You are watching Philadelphia Eagles Now by Chat Sports. Chase Sr. here with you. To all of you who joined our watch party, about 40,000 people, it was an absolute blast as it was ugly for a majority of this football game before the Eagles show some grit. They show some toughness. And like Rocky Balboa, they show some fight to come back in this game to win it by a final score of 17-16. A reminder to subscribe to the channel. We're about 90 people away from 36,000 subscribers. If you want videos every single day on the Birds, lock us in for year-round coverage. So the final score, as I said, 17-16 Philadelphia. And this game became really important following that loss to the Commanders because you lose that game against Washington in which you played sloppy, you turned the football over, and those were the themes of this game as well, and that continues to be a concerning trend. But if you lose this game against a tough team in the Indianapolis Colts who are still fighting for their playoff lives, guess who's coming to town next week on Sunday Night Football? It's Aaron Rodgers and the desperate Green Bay Packers. So to push that record and advance that record to 9-1 and to show some character and championship identity, this is a game that the Eagles desperately needed, and they got it led by Jalen Hurts, who once again put forward an MVP caliber performance through the air. 18 of 25, 190 yards, and a touchdown. That touchdown coming to Quez Watkins to bring the Eagles back to make it a one-score game. And on the ground, he was also great. He realized, and this Eagles coaching staff realized, that nothing was working. The ground game wasn't all too successful. The pass game downfield wasn't able to matriculate downfield, so they had to have a steady dosage of Jalen Hurts, and that's the guy who they leaned on, and that's the guy who they've continued to lean on this year, and once again, he came forward with a masterful performance for Philadelphia. Some other takeaways that I have: this is a win that at the end of the day, we'll look back on it at the end of the year because it could determine playoff seeding, depending on what happens with Vikings-Cowboys. It could determine playoff positioning in your division because the New York Giants go down to the Detroit Lions. Once again, we'll see what happens with the Cowboys. And to just stack another dub and to get that record to 9-1, it gives you a little bit of breathing room. And the Eagles, so many times this year, have blown out opponents. These games haven't been close. They've been able to pull away and display this explosive offensive attack. And up until several weeks ago, their defense was one of the best in the NFL. Through the air it is. On the ground, it hasn't been. Today, they made monster improvements, but by winning a game like this in which you have to come back, you win ugly, you don't play your best football, it's character, it's toughness, it's resiliency, it's grit. It's just finding a way to win and having that will, and that's what the Eagles showed. So grade the Eagles' performance today. It was not pretty. In fact, it was really ugly. I will give the Eagles a C grade at the end of the day because, frankly, they didn't play well. But all that matters, they got a dub. So much more left to get to here on our post-game show. Ndamukong, Linval Joseph having profound impacts. And how about Brandon Graham? He gets that pressure and sack on Matt Ryan to really flush this game away for Indy. A week after he gets called for that bogus penalty, when the Eagles needed to play, he came through with it. But come through for your family member, loved one, significant other with the best and most unique holiday gift during this holiday season. Established Titles is running an early, massive Black Friday sale of up to 80% off. Plus, if you use our link, establishedtitles.com/chat, and the promo code chat, you save an extra 10% off. Established Titles is a fun and novel way to preserve the natural woodlands of Scotland while helping global reforestation efforts. It's a project based on a historic Scottish custom right here where landowners are referred to as lairds, lords, and ladies in English. You can buy these title packs of land, which give you at least 1 square foot of dedicated land with a unique plot number right here in Scotland on this private estate in Edelston, Scotland. That comes with an official certificate with a crest, and they plant a tree with every order and work with global charities, One Tree Planted and Trees for the Future, to support global reforestation efforts. You could officially include the title of Lord or Lady on your credit card, plane tickets, and dating profiles, and this makes for the best last-minute gift. The first 200 people purchasing a title pack using our link will be next to my plot and producer Coop's plot within a few minutes of walking distance, and depending on how many of you buy a plot today and want to become a lord or a lady, we could build our own Eagles Now Kingdom. So one more time, it's establishedtitles.com/chat, promo code chat for that deal to apply. We really appreciate Established Titles for being our presenting sponsor for our post-game show. More news, notes, and takeaways from this victory, and then we'll start answering your questions in your super chats, because what a win it was for Philadelphia. MVP level stuff from Jalen Hurts, as I said. First half, I think we should start to get a little bit concerned about this Eagles offense. This is now the third consecutive game in which they have trailed at halftime. And the Eagles, when they were on that winning streak, were so good operating at just an historic clip at scoring points in the second quarter. Last few games, that has not been there. And for Philadelphia, they just need to find a way to be a little bit more consistent through four quarters. And this offense right now, I think a lot of this is because of other teams running the football, dominating time of possession. They look lost. It looks as though they can't find footing or momentum, and that's because of their lack of opportunities to matriculate the ball downfield. So that's a little bit of a concern for Philadelphia. To the defensive side, the tackling on defense continues to be horrid. And in the playoffs, against a rushing attack, against a passing attack, Jonathan Gannon has to find a way to have his guys tackle a little bit better. Speaking of tackling, Linval Joseph and Ndamukong played a lot in this game, and I actually thought they played pretty well. Keep in mind that both of these additions, Joseph signed on Wednesday, Ndamukong signed on Thursday, had not played football in 8+ months. Yet they come in a desperate spot after having not played for a long time. They gave this team very significant snaps. I mean, Linval Joseph and Ndamukong, at the very least, were able to direct Jonathan Taylor to another side when the Colts were trying to establish that run and run the football. And that's the impact that they had, and that's the impact that I had talked about. Lastly, ball security has been a joke for this team. A.J. Brown just has to be better. Opportunity there after you force that turnover against Jonathan Taylor to come back in this game, really make a statement. And A.J. Brown, I respect trying to pick up yards after the catch, but to cough the football up there and to body up Stephon Gilmore and to hold on to the football like this, allowing them to come through with that peanut punch, that just cannot happen. We'll get to your questions here in a second, but first, take a look at some overall numbers here, because this was a game that certainly flip-flopped, although Philadelphia just played a bad game, and the Colts, for their standards and considering their talent on that roster, I guess they maximized a little bit. 18 first downs for Philly, 14 for Indy. Passing first downs, 6 for Philly, 9 for the Colts. Rushing first downs, 10 for the Eagles, 4 for the Colts. So that's an improvement on top of what happened last week against the Commanders. 5 of 12 on third downs. The Eagles were terrible in that category for much of this game, but when it counted, that's when they capitalized. And, of course, Jalen Hurts, that big third down run, which I called here on the watch party. Take the snap, the C's departed, Hurts ran it in for the score. Fourth down efficiency, the Eagles 1 of 2. And then total plays, 61-62 for the Eagles in Indy. The Eagles did outgain the Colts in yardage, 314-284, which they should. The Birds had one more drive, average yards per play, 5.1. Indy with 4.6. Rushing numbers, though, this is key. For the first time in 6 weeks, the Eagles did not surrender 100 rushing yards or more. Again, that goes back to the impact that Linval Joseph and Ndamukong had. 99 rushing yards for Indy, 141 for Philadelphia. Howie Roseman brought both Joseph and Sue in, and they made an impact in game one, and that's why the Eagles made those moves. Emmanuel Henderson with the $10 super chat. Appreciate another donation coming in from the homie. Hey, I told you to sing the fight song too early, brother. Let's hear the fight song now. Shoot, on our post-game show, a lot of you are going to say, Chase, you have an awful voice, but it's an Eagles victory. Fly, Eagles, fly on the road to victory. Fight, Eagles, fight. Score a touchdown, 1, 2, 3. Hit 'em low, hit 'em high, and watch our Eagles fly. Fly, Eagles, fly on the road to victory. E-A-G-L-E-S, Eagles. John Gold, I saw your comment. If you pronounce it Eagles, you're a real one. My stepdad taught me that early on. He was like a 40-year season ticket holder back in the day at the Vet. Blackie Greg, what's going on, brother? My anxiety levels through the roof with that game. Jalen Hurts made a strong MVP argument here. Love the new run defense I'm seeing. Hard-fought win. Fly, Eagles, fly. And if you look at simply the numbers for Jalen Hurts, he didn't do anything too crazy from a rushing and passing standpoint. But when the plays needed to be made, Jalen Hurts rose up to the occasion. He got it done. And the new run defense, they were a lot better today. And again, don't expect Linval Joseph and Ndamukong to play every single down, although they did play today a lot more than I had thought. Once Jordan Davis comes back, they become depth pieces. That's why I like the signings for Howie Roseman and the crew. Matt Potter, need to regroup for Green Bay. We won't get off this easy next week. And you can't, because the Packers have not exceeded expectations. They have failed to reach expectations. There's no question about that. The Packers have been a bad football team this year. Aaron Rodgers, something is up. It looks as though he might be spent in Green Bay. He's tired of his time there. The arm, a little bit of a concern with the accuracy. Green Bay is fighting for their playoff lives. Green Bay is a desperate football team. The Eagles can take one of two paths. They can step on the throat of the Packers and Aaron Rodgers and maybe end his tenure in the frozen tundra and come through with a big staple victory, or the Packers will come into the Link Sunday Night Football and Aaron Rodgers will do his discount double check, come through with a clutch victory for Green Bay's sake. And the Eagles, once again, will continue to have these looming questions. You beat Green Bay, and some of these concerns and questions that we have right now start to ease up a little bit. A lot of these questions, by the way, right now, not defensively. It looks as though they could have shored up that run defense. These concerns coming on the offensive side of the ball. Potion, we're going to put your name on the Rocky Glove. Every $10 or more super chat that comes in, your name goes on the Rocky Glove. The number to beat to have this sent to you, $50, three-way tie. JT, less than 100, 3.8 a carry. We did what we needed to do. Just win, baby. Go Birds. Go Birds! So, yeah, I talked about the Colts rushing for less than 100 yards. 3 straight games in which the Eagles had given up coming in 140 or more rushing yards. 5 straight games of 100 or more rushing yards. This finally ends what has been a disastrous stretch for this Eagles rushing defense. Taylor looked good. 22 carries, 84 yards, and then as Potion pointed out, 3.8 yards per carry. His lone touchdown did come on the opening drive of the game, a long of 28. From one real one in Potion to another real one in Peter Thurman, do you think the pass heavy is hurting the offense? That's a great question. I think it is. I think the Eagles have seen Jalen Hurts take these massive strides as a quarterback, and all throughout this year, their identity has been running the football, yet the last couple of weeks, they've struggled to throw the football. Shoot, did I say that wrong? Their identity this year has been passing the football because Jalen Hurts has taken a Josh Allen-like stride forward as a passer. Their identity last year was running the football because to start the year, when they got off to that 2-5 start, they were passing it too much. There has to be a happy medium. Jalen Hurts, in my opinion, right now, and probably moving into the future, is not a quarterback who is going to throw it and have success with chucking it 40 to 50 times. There has to be a combination of run and pass and play complementary football. For me right now, Peter, I think the Eagles are way too pass heavy because they've said and they've seen, look, Jalen Hurts has taken these strides. Let's continue to throw it because that's the way to win in the NFL. But they're going away from their strength, which is the offensive line and Miles Sanders. I'd like to see more runs from Shane Steichen. Brittany Bees, you're the bee's knees. Why did we struggle so much against a team that shouldn't have been close? Because it's the NFL. And the Colts going into this game were 4-5, coming off a momentum-changing win against the Las Vegas Raiders. They had an opportunity, and still have an opportunity, to make the playoffs in what has been a down division in the AFC South outside of the Tennessee Titans. And when you turn the football over, which the Eagles did once again, A.J. Brown fumble, Jalen Hurts strip sack, you get penalized as many times as the Eagles did, which was another negative takeaway from this game. You open up the door to get upset, and that's what almost happened today. But when the Eagles needed to drive right down the field, they did so and came through with a huge victory here in the 2022 season in NFL Week 11. Before we hop on out of here for our post-game show, we'll continue to keep it live here on YouTube. Appreciate everybody for rocking and rolling with us and staying with us. Subscribe to the channel. We're approaching 36,000 subscribers. If you want videos every single day on the Eagles, lock us in and subscribe, and we appreciate all of your support.